Okay, so then I haven't even done anything useful yet. I'm just putting in all these incredible. This is how humans think. This is how we're supposed to put our computers spin out in so many different ways. It's associated with made by the Beatles. What is the Beatles? The Beatles is an artist. They make things. Beatles, okay, but then the Beatles are also a group. Oh, maybe the computer already knows what a group is. It has this general notion of things being grouped together. Right, okay, in this case we're grouping people. The group is like, people? Okay, right, I heard about that one. That's the thing where it's like this humanoid thing, and there's various things associated with people. And there's various things, and then maybe it would, like, you know the difference in various types of people. And like, oh, this person, if you had a blind person, if you had a deaf person, imagine telling a computer that runs like a building or something. So, you know, the blind person is going to be walking down this hallway or something, and the person's like, oh, that person's blind, so that way, if I send off the fire alarm, I make sure that there's lots of noise, I make sure there's lots of, you know, because of blind people, because the lights were not associated with seeing. The seeing of the blind, if you're not blind, oh, then that doesn't work. Okay, so then if we made it with noise, then they would see that thing. Now we're off the track of the Beatles forever. So back still to the same song, Strawberry Fields. So they're like the Beatles. The Beatles are a group. Group of what? Group of people. And these people are musicians. Oh, are all musicians people? And you'd be like, yes. And even that can be modified, because I suppose when time computers make some composing music, wouldn't that be interesting? And then you get the definition of people sliding around. See my other video for artificial intelligence and questions of ethics. But anyway, then imagine if it knew, okay, so that, okay, so maybe these people are known as the Beatles, and then might at that point probably know that the Beatles are actually beetling, you know, those little insect things, and they're beetles, but that's not relevant. You know, you teach it, okay, so no one really cares what the name actually means in this particular instance. And then, okay, so I give you some more songs, and these are also Beatles songs. And so those things are each connected, linked up in the made of or made by relation, vice thing, to the Beatles. Okay. And so then if I want all Beatles songs, you know, it'd be like, okay, song. He asked for a song. Beatles make songs. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Beatles, they made it, okay, and then somehow, like, how does it work in the actual data? Like, that one thing links to another, I'm not sure. That's why I'm talking about this elusive idea. Something like that. Something like that. Okay. So then I still Beatles songs, I can list all the Beatles songs. Okay, well that's not very important. It's important, but it's not very impressive. The plenty of songs that can do that, yes, with their silos. But we'll soon have infinite different things. Okay, so we can start listing like various, you know, genres it might be in. But don't think of genres as being like a simple like label, you know, it's like a little piece of text. So like, okay, this is, you know, this is rock here, and this is jazz here, and this is country here, and this is, you know, and whatever. I'm presuming this and other people besides just the Beatles. And then that's got to know what a genre is. Well, genre is also this thing that a song generally has. Like, okay, so song, genre, these things linked to all these other things. And then things can be sorted in between genres. This can be both this thing is kind of like rock and it's kind of like jazz. And you put that there and you'd say, a genre, rock, also jazz. And so, wait, when you said jazz there, are you replacing it like it was rock but now it's jazz? Or are you saying it, we were wrong the first time? Did the song itself change, or are you saying it's both? And there's certain things like it has to know the concept of both. It has to know the concept of replacing. It has to know the concept of there was an error, or the fact that thing actually changed. Things can actually change. For instance, you might label a song as being new, and then at a certain point you relabel it as old. And they're like, oh, was there an error? And you're like, no, there was a change. It changed because of time. The computer's like, time? I know what that is. That's the thing with this. Oh, time. So how much time would you like to go by before I mark the new songs as being old songs? Oh. It makes an inference. And you're like, well, I don't know. How about after, you know, a year, then it becomes old? And you're like, okay. And the computer's like, wait a minute. I noticed you used the adjective old, but there are these other things called adverbs that we can throw onto the adjective. And then we can make it, like, very old after 5 years, and then we can make it, you know, very new after just anyway, and we make it like, oh, okay, we're making some inferences here. The time changes there, but if I made it, for instance, the rock thing and also jazz thing, then I could have a concept that some music is in multiple genres. It's partially in one genre, partially in the other. And then would have to know, like, is it entirely both, or is it somewhere in the middle? And I'd be like, somewhere in the middle, or however I can communicate that to the computer. The computer's like, oh, in the middle, so a song can be sort of between, it can be sort of in the middle, and that's kind of the concept of things being in the middle, and things being, and then it sort of analyzes the last song I have that's kind of rock and kind of like jazz, and it finds other things that are kind of like that too, and then it's got solo within it. Well, these are very much rock songs, very much jazz songs, and these. And then it's kind of a continuum thing. I think these things are kind of, jazz sort of drifts towards rock, and rock sort of drifts towards jazz, and right in the middle you have that, and then the country comes into the mix, and now things jazz drift between all three of those there. And then, you know, and then I started getting more information about music. Like, okay, so music, you can do things with instruments. Instruments, what's that? Well, it's this thing, and then a person uses instrument, and they do things. Oh, so person, that's one thing we know about people now. And then we can know, okay, you know, so this person plays these instruments, and they can play them to various degrees of skill, and various degrees of fame, and various degrees of, like, so, and then that links itself also to the various groups, and various songs, the various record labels, and the various genres and stuff, and the various, you know, like, so then you can start asking the computer really weird questions. You'd be like, okay, give me a relatively new song that involves a guitar solo. It knows what a guitar is, and it knows the solo is, and it can infer that a guitar solo is a thing that has a solo and a guitar, and then it goes through its songs, and it knows various ways of analyzing all of these things, and it puts it all together, and like, oh, this is a guitar, and then this is fairly new, and it's got to juggle, okay, so how new does it be versus how much guitar solo does it have to be, if I compute some sort of a score somehow, and it, you know, figures out a way of computing a score, and then, like, lists a thing. You'd be like, oh, hey, there's some cool guitar solos. And you'd be like, now play just guitar solos, and then it goes into the actual song. Aha, the guitar solo occurs at, you know, 1 minute and 22 seconds, and it goes until, you know, 2 minutes and 38 seconds. It's a very long solo. Wherever that works. And then it would know, you know, what things you want to list, and I could list various preferences, and imagine if I could just listen to, like, some music, and I'd be like, okay, you know, I liked that, just in general, and then it starts to infer, like, what sorts of things I apparently like. And it starts, you know, maybe I just give it a bunch of random music. I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I don't like that, and then it starts to infer, oh, all these things that he likes, they're all, there must be something similar about them or something. Maybe they're all, you know, a thing like that. And then, like, maybe in its spare time, like, I'm working on some word processing document or whatever, and it's got, like, some spare time in the meantime. So, what if I look up these songs here? So it goes to the songs that I like, and it says, okay, I've got this associated with this title here. Okay, title, the song is the title. All right. And then there's the internet, and I could go on the internet, and I could say, okay, Wikipedia, here's this title, and maybe nothing comes up. Like, well, how about this, he's also got an artist, part of the artist, and types all that, and, you know, silently, just, like, looks up to Wikipedia, or whatever sort of database, and then that artist is known as jazz. It's a jazz musician. Among, like, it collects, like, 50 different facts about this guy that might be relevant. And then it looks at all the other artists, and they're also known for jazz. And then a couple of songs actually finds that those are jazz. Oh, he must like jazz. And then it looks at jazz. Okay, we have the idea of jazz. We have, like, the word associated with it, and the various ways you can spell it, and in the various languages you can spell it. Oh, isn't that interesting? And then it looks that up. Like, okay, so anybody else that calls this sort of thing jazz? You know, because apparently my user here likes jazz. Okay, we jazz. Okay, we can get that. And then it finds, like, other songs, and, like, you know, sort of downloads each of those, and I can continue to tell these things whether I like or don't like certain things, and it gets a better idea of what I like, and then it gets what jazz is and what I like, and maybe they're together, maybe they're apart, maybe you know, and then they do this, like this thing, or that, or like this other thing. When, you know, changing circumstances, stuff like that, just like that, zerp around the internet, and be like, there's a song you've never heard, and I think you should listen to this. I'm like, wow, this is a great song. It's like, woohoo! And it goes off searching one. Okay, that's relevant. It's very relevant. My user likes this jazz stuff sort of thing here. Okay, so let me sort of find more things related to that. Imagine that, and then, like, you can associate certain emotions with certain things. It could be like, computer, find the saddest song in my music collection. And it's like, and maybe it asks me, like, sad by whose standards or something like that. And I could, like, tell it whose standard. My standards, I don't know. Click. It's like, oh, it's this one. And it finds it, you know, based on, like, all these different things. One thing links to another, links to another, links to another, links to another. Everything links to everything else. Everything.